At the age of 82, I've learned many lessons. Some came from experience, some from mistakes, but of all the choices I've made, one stands out as the one I regret the most: moving into a nursing home. At the time, it seemed like the best decision. My family encouraged me. They said I'd have everything I needed: care, comfort, company. I believed them, but what I found was not the peaceful retirement I had imagined. It was a life I never truly chose. This isn't a message of bitterness. It's a warning from someone who's been there. If you're considering a nursing home for yourself or someone you love, please hear me out. These are the 6 things I wish someone had told me before I gave up the life I knew. Regret 1. Losing my independence. The first thing I lost wasn't my belongings or my routines. It was something much deeper: my sense of control. Before I moved in, I chose when to wake up, what to eat, when to take a walk, and how to spend my afternoons. I had my favorite chair by the window, my books neatly stacked beside it, and the freedom to live life on my terms. In the nursing home, everything is scheduled. Breakfast comes at a set time, whether or not you're hungry. Lights go out whether or not you're tired. If you want to go outside, you have to wait for someone to assist you. Even deciding what to wear or when to bathe depends on someone else's availability. That first week, I woke up in a bed that wasn't mine, reached for a book I no longer had, and realized that I was no longer living in my own home. I was living in someone else's system. Losing independence doesn't happen all at once. It slips away quietly. You stop asking questions, stop pushing back, you fit yourself into their schedule, their rules, their version of life. I never thought I'd miss something as simple as choosing when to have my coffee or walking out the front door on a whim. But I do, every day. Regret 2. Feeling forgotten. When I arrived, my family promised they'd visit often. And at first, they did. My daughter came every week. My grandchildren visited on weekends. But life is busy, and slowly, those visits faded. The calls came less frequently. Holidays grew quieter. Birthdays were missed. Plans changed. It wasn't out of malice. They love me, I know that, but life has a way of moving on without you when you're no longer in it. I remember sitting alone in the common room, watching the front door, hoping today would be the day someone remembered I was here. Most of the time, the door stayed shut. No one warns you about the loneliness, about how quickly you become out of sight, out of mind, about how being cared for is not the same as being remembered. The hardest part? Not wanting to be a burden. I stopped calling my son because I didn't want to interrupt his busy day. I didn't want to remind him I was still here, still waiting. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself if you're ready for the silence. Because once you leave the rhythm of your family's life, it's much easier to be forgotten. Regret 3. Losing my sense of purpose. At home, I had things to do. I watered plants, made my own coffee, folded laundry, straightened up the house. Small tasks, yes, but they gave my day meaning. In the nursing home, those tasks were taken away. Meals were served, beds were made, floors were cleaned. My hands, once busy, now sat still. I thought I would enjoy the rest. But rest without purpose becomes a slow kind of erosion. There was a man here named George. He was a carpenter, always building things at home. But here, he had no tools, no projects. He told me once, "I feel useless," and I understood exactly what he meant. Purpose isn't about grand achievements. It's about feeling needed, capable, involved. When that disappears, time stretches endlessly. You start to feel like you're just waiting for meals, for medications, for the day to end. Without purpose, your mind slows, your body follows, the light inside begins to dim. Regret 4. Declining health faster than expected. Before I moved in, I was doing fine for my age. I cooked, walked, even stretched in the mornings. I kept myself moving because I had to. The effort kept me strong. But here, everything is designed for ease. Meals are delivered, help is just a button away. It's comfortable, dangerously so. The less I moved, the weaker I became. My legs grew stiff, my muscles faded, standing up became harder, walking grew shorter. Eventually, I needed help for things I once did without thought. And I'm not the only one. I saw vibrant people decline quickly after arriving. People who came in walking upright now needed walkers. Walkers turned into wheelchairs. One day, my neighbor Alice looked at me and said, "I feel like I aged 10 years in 3 months." And she was right. The environment isn't built to keep you active. It's built to keep you safe. But safety without movement leads to decline. If I had known how quickly my body would weaken, I would have fought harder to stay active. Because once strength is gone, Getting it back becomes an uphill climb. Regret 5. The loss of privacy and dignity. In my home, I had space. I could close the door, be alone, move on my own schedule. Here, privacy is rare. Staff come in and out of your room without warning. You share spaces with strangers. You may need help dressing or using the bathroom. Simple things that once were private now require assistance. No matter how kind the caregivers are, it's still hard. Being spoken to like a patient. Having someone decide when you can shower. Sharing a room with someone who snores or yells or simply doesn't match your energy. Some people get lucky with a private room. Others don't, and even when you try to make the space feel like yours, it never fully does. The hardest moments were when I felt like I wasn't myself anymore. I was being managed, not respected. It's subtle, but constant. Dignity is a fragile thing. And once you're in a place where your choices no longer belong to you, it begins to fade. Regret 6. Realizing it's harder to leave than you think. When I first moved in, I told myself it was temporary. I'd try it out. If I didn't like it, I'd leave. But I didn't realize how much harder it would be to go back. My house, left empty, became difficult to maintain. My children had started clearing things out, thinking they were helping. They talked about renting it, selling it. When I said I wanted to go back, they hesitated. Are you sure? They asked. It's safer here. Meanwhile, I had grown weaker, less confident in my ability to live alone. The very comfort I sought had made me more dependent. Some neighbors lost their homes entirely. Others spent their savings on care and had no choice but to stay. Once you settle in, it becomes your world, even if it's not the one you want. The choice to leave becomes harder than the choice to stay. And for many, that second choice never comes. Final thoughts. I don't regret growing old. I regret assuming that a nursing home was the only path forward. Not all nursing homes are bad. Some people truly need the level of care they offer. But if you're still able to live independently, even with some help, think carefully before you trade your freedom for convenience. Explore every option. In-home care, part-time help, community resources. Don't give up your independence until you truly have no other choice. Because the life you're living right now, the routines, the small freedoms, the familiar comforts, they are more valuable than you know. And once you hand them over, getting them back may not be possible. If my story can help even one person pause and reconsider, then sharing it was worth it. Thank you for being here. Keep building your foundation. You're stronger and wiser than you realize.